G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero Beachhead from Image Comics and Skybound drops a silent stunner on April 2nd, 2025. This time, Beachhead tries to escape from COBRA's clutches. What's it all about? Let's find out in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. On first read-through of G.I. Joe Real American Hero Beachhead, you learn right away it's a silent issue, and that's the nature of this mini-series of 5 issues that are going to come out weekly from Image and Skybound. It's all visuals. There are no dialogue boxes, there's no narration, there is no thought bubble of any sort. It's all about the visuals and the action. In this case, we have Beachhead trying to escape COBRA's clutches with the help of a group of orphans in a war-torn country, and it does feel like a classic G.I. Joe adventure story. Is it a big hit, or are there some foibles along the way? Fortunately, you get a little bit of both, but a lot more of one and less of the other. Let's talk about the details. Let's start with the positives and what's great about G.I. Joe Real American Hero Beachhead. Phil Hester, who is the writer-artist on this issue, nails the underdog energy. Imagine Beachhead, he's zip-tied and trapped inside a COBRA helicopter when the copter runs into some technical issues and crashes, while some kids watch on in awe. It's raw, scrappy, and has tons of pure Joe spirit. The orphans stepping up, dragging him to safety, bartering for a communicator, all add a layer of heart-tugging twists that makes you root for them in every single panel of this issue. How does that affect the score? It's a great contender for a high mark. Hester turns a lesser-known Joe, which is Beachhead in this case, into a gritty hero, and the silent storytelling hooks you with every panel's visual, emotional punch. So what's not so great about G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero Beachhead? The visuals are the plus, but they're also, in this case, a little bit of a minus. The fights get messy in some spots, and not in a good way. For example, there's a rooftop brawl. Beachhead is bound with the zip ties, and he's attacking 2 COBRA soldiers who are armed with weapons. Sometimes that fight looks a little off. The moves don't flow fluidly. The transitions from one type of strike or hit or kick don't quite jibe the way they're supposed to. In one panel he's dodging, next he's charging, but the shift between one and the other sometimes feels a little discontinuous and clunky. In a silent issue where every visual panel counts, little foibles stick out in a big way. So how does that affect the score? It doesn't tank it, because by and large the visuals tell the story and they do a good job doing that, but those little moments really pull you out. Fortunately, the moments where they do happen are few and far between, and when they pull you out, you can pretty much be guaranteed you're going to get pulled right back in again. So it goes without saying that the art is pretty darn good. Phil Hester, who is the writer and the artist, has this sort of rugged, blocky style that sort of reminds me of Mike Mignola. Some people think that's great, some people may not like it too much, but it definitely has its visual style, and it definitely achieves what he's trying to do here. The blocky figure work really plays on the dark shadows and silhouettes to give you tons of drama and to emphasize the stark, gray, snowy atmosphere of the setting in which the story takes place. The war-torn backdrop and the orphans' grit really comes through. They look like a bunch of bedraggled orphans, and they're trying to help them out. So that really plays up the atmosphere of the story. How does that affect the score? For the most part, the art is the highlight of this issue, and it needs to be, of course, because it's a silent issue. But putting aside the little foibles we mentioned previously, the art is pretty good overall. So let's get into the plot a little bit. This is a one-and-done story, so there's no recap, and the subsequent 4 issues that are coming up behind it will also be one-and-done stories. So in this case, what we have is it's a snowy day in a war-torn land. The country's not named. You're not given any caption boxes to tell you where you are. So we start with a bunch of kids who are playing in the street. They look like they're orphans. They're dirty. Their clothes are ragged, and they spot a COBRA chopper clip a roof and crash. They climb up to the top of the building to check it out to find out what's going on, and they see Beachhead, who's tumbling out of the chopper with 2 COBRA soldiers fighting as they fall down and hit the top of the roof. Beachhead is zip-tied and bleeding. He takes one COBRA soldier out and shoves the other one off the edge of the building, but Beachhead is wounded in the battle, so he's hauled off by the kids on a stretcher to an apartment down below inside the building. To help with a potential rescue, one of the oldest kids takes some of the gear off of one of the dead COBRA soldiers, finds a trader, and swaps the gear for a radio communicator of some sort. Later, the trader receives a visit from a new set of COBRA soldiers who wanted to know where did he get that gear, and he points out to where the kids are holding up inside the apartment building. Inside the building, Beachhead, who's now a little bit recovered, a little bit patched up, sets a bunch of traps inside the building to ambush the COBRA soldiers once they infiltrate the building. A little bit later, the fight continues all the way up the stairs to the top of the roof of the building, just in time for a G.I. Joe chopper to show up and to rescue Beachhead, the orphans, and take the new set of COBRA soldiers into custody. So final thoughts, what do we think about G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero Beachhead from Image Comics and Skybound? It delivers a silent escape with lots of gutsy kids, lots of great fights, and some pretty killer art with one or two foibles here and there. The grit rocks, the fights wobble a little bit, and the tension hums. Therefore, G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero Beachhead, which is a one-shot, earns an 8.2 out of 10. Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and tell me in the comments section below, how do you like silent issues? Are they your favorite? They don't occur that often because they're really hard to do, so do you enjoy them when they show up? Do you go out of your way to get them when they show up? Or can you take it or leave it? Let me know in the comments. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.